Hi, everyone. We are here again for season 3. I'm Alicia Ponce with Designing Healthy Environments and my firm, architecture firm AP Monarch, where our mission is to design healthy environments, buildings, and communities that look good, feel good, and perform great. So here we are on a new platform, live on LinkedIn, and kicking off season 3 is Gabriela Martin. Hi, Gabriela.
Hey there, Alicia. Nice to see you.
Great to see you too. I am thrilled to have you kicking off season 3 because we are about to share some awesome resources. And at a time where climate change is just moving at a rapid pace, and we in the design industry, we are, doing everything that we can to take it back, right? To make, create environments that are healthy, not just for us as human beings on this planet, but also for, our surroundings, right? And so, Gabriela, let me just do a quick intro on who you are and what you've been doing for the past several years. This is you are program director at ICECF, right? The Illinois Clean Energy Foundation, and you provide resources so that buildings can reach net zero in Illinois. And last year, Illinois Green Alliance actually gave you an award, recognized ICECF for the work that you're doing. So congratulations on that. And let's talk about what you're doing and why time is of the essence.
Well, the is I've been working on renewables for, many years, but here in Illinois since the late 90s. Mm-hmm. And I would always hear from people, well, here in Illinois, we just don't have enough sunlight to really make renewables work, right? Yeah. Photovoltaic, we can't do it. But, here we are 15 years later, and the solar market in Illinois is booming. And likewise, in terms of net zero buildings, it was kind of the same thing. People would always say, well, no, that really just doesn't work here, because of the climate. It can't work because we don't have enough sunlight. And so, if people wanted to use solar as an energy resource, that just wouldn't work. But the truth of the matter is, if you do design buildings with excellent envelopes and you make them very, very energy efficient, it is doable. And, the foundation decided that we wanted to show that building net zero in Illinois is indeed feasible. Because like you said, time is of the essence. This is something that can be done, and we really wanted to put examples out there for other folks to, take inspiration from, to imitate. And to date, we have awarded 13 net zero energy grants. 8 of those buildings are already done with construction and are in their performance monitoring phase. 2 of those buildings have actually already passed their verification. So they have shown that, for the last 12 months, they have performed at net zero energy. And then we've got 5 more buildings that are starting construction in the spring. So it's exciting.
Wow. See, so, we don't have time for skepticism here. That's so true. A lot of people think that the Midwest and Illinois, there is not enough sun, or, because they don't see the sunshine, it's not going to go very far. But as you said, you have worked on how many projects? Can you please repeat that now?
We've awarded 13 grants, 8 buildings already done, they're completed, they're up and running and operating, and 5 are starting construction this spring.
Wow. And every year, or maybe you can correct me on this, you have gone more ambitious, right? Because when you first started, projects needed to be, LEED certified, right? Reach a certain level of LEED certification or living building certification, not net zero. And then it's just like did it get too easy or what happened there?
I wish I could say it had gotten too
Yeah.
easy. Just to put it into context, so the Illinois Clean Energy Creative Foundation, we're a private foundation. We were set up in the late 90s. We've been around for just over 20 years. And in 2002, we started making our first high performance green building grants. And back then, LEED was just getting started, LEED certification.
Mhm.
So our grants really helped to get those types of buildings off the ground and get that started. And over the years, yes, as you were saying, we got more ambitious, and really the projects went from just being LEED certified to, having quite a few platinum certified buildings. So, the projects became more ambitious. But what happened was in about 2010, we actually asked our grantees to start reporting on their building performance. That's when things started getting interesting, because we do require the applicants to submit energy models up front when they apply. And the energy models, they look good. But once we started looking at the actual building performance,
Yeah.
it was a different story. And we were very surprised. And also troubled, I would say. So in about 2014, 2015, we just took a step back and decided, okay, well, how could we address this? What is there that we can do as a foundation? What kind of programmatic offerings can we put out there to try and kind of improve the situation? So 2015 was kind of, a period where we kind of thought things through, and we actually decided that we wanted to raise the bar. And we decided we would also try to introduce some kind of accountability in terms of building performance. And so that's how our Net Zero Energy Building Program came to be.
Mm-hmm.
16.
Yeah, I mean, it's in this industry, it's constant innovation and raising that bar. You just made me think of breaking the 4-minute mile was something that nobody thought was ever possible, right? And now, many, many, many runners have been able to do that. So when we set our minds to it, especially when designing healthy environments, I'm glad that the foundation decided to take it to that route, net zero, because we need to, time is of the essence yet again. So tell us, Gabriela, how does one engage with you? What are the steps that we need to take to be able to take advantage of these grants that are out there?
Yeah, so I can tell you a little bit about, who is eligible to be funded through the foundation. We're not like the utilities that can just make, grants, incentives, rebates to anyone who's their customer. We were set up to make grants to 501c3 nonprofits, public entities, so local government agencies serving Illinois residents, and then like colleges and universities. And we are limited to our grants, to our grant making to the state of Illinois. So the first thing. In terms of the Net Zero Energy Building Program, it's a matter of reaching out to us and beginning the conversation, starting to talk about what you have in mind in terms of the project. We have done, now that we've kind of worked on, more than a dozen of these buildings, we are actually also to be able to be a good resource for you in terms of putting you in touch with, potential experts in the field. We can't make any recommendations, but we can certainly share with you, who's worked on net zero projects, what their background is, what kind of experience, and so on. So it's a matter of reaching out to us and starting the conversation. And then it's really the earlier the better. And then once the point where you really know what kind of certification you want to pursue, you have the strategies in mind that you want to pursue in order to get to net zero, then you start with request for ideas, which you can submit at any time during the year. And then that's when you kind of get into the pipeline and the more in-depth conversations start, where we need to do research, maybe site visits. We want to find out about funding and the project team and so on. And then we kind of take it from there. So have a look at our website. It kind of outlines all the steps. And hopefully.
Yeah, we're going to provide a link to the website so that all of those steps are outlined for people interested in pursuing net zero, which I hope there are many out there. And so it's an online application process, right? And how long does it take, or is there a project size requirement for?
No, so we're really pretty open about this. So if you're interested in, pursuing net zero, we have grants for either new construction or renovations.
Okay.
There is a square foot kind of limit or any kind of parameters along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, I should say, when we initially launched the programs, we would offer grants up to $1 million per project. But we ended up with projects that were so much larger than what we had initially anticipated. So, now we're looking at projects that are over 70,000 square feet. We have the whole range from about 1,400 to 73,000 square feet in there. And so now our grants actually go up to about $2 million per project.
Mm-hmm. So I'm glad that you mentioned that you help those interested applicants in matching or connecting with folks that do these types of projects, because it's important. It's a collective, right? There's a number of steps that need to be taken. There are a number of consultants that need to work on these projects. For example, you mentioned the energy model earlier. Can you explain a little bit about that and where does the energy model begin? What is the first initial steps after we speak with you?
So in terms of the foundation's role, we're hands off in terms of, we're not going to tell you how to model your building, what platform to use, and so on. But we do require that you do energy modeling as part of the whole process to make sure that really you are able to design and hopefully build a net zero energy building. So part of the application process, and you asked earlier how long this takes, so I'll come back to it.
Mm-hmm.
Come in either with your pre-proposal or your full proposal. You'll be submitting basically energy model information that lets us know kind of what all the assumptions are, that you made in terms of the building, construction, occupancy, mechanicals, and so on, and the results, so that we can see how the building is anticipated to perform.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of the application process.
Okay. No, that's pretty straightforward. And I think everyone, at your office on your end is pretty, you're accessible. That's the important thing. You're accessible, you're approachable to answer all of these questions, right? Somebody considering this type of project, whether you're an owner or an architect taking this to your client, I think it's a awesome resource right here that we have in the state of Illinois to take advantage of. Tell us about some of your projects that you have certified that are net zero.
Yeah, so as I was saying before, out of all of our projects, 8 are already in their kind of performance period, and 2 of them actually have completed their 12 months of net zero energy performance. And I'll just talk a little bit maybe about one of the ones that was verified. Mm-hmm. That's the Park District of Oak Park. They had a community center, the Carroll Center, and if any of you guys who are online, you can just Google Park District of Oak Park and dashboard, and that'll give you their energy dashboard for a couple of buildings, and click on Carroll Center and you can actually see the energy performance. But essentially the Park District of Oak Park had a building, it's a 19th building that they could have demolished. However, it's kind of a unique building, and they really preferred to renovate, and they decided to renovate it to net zero standards. And at the same time, they also took the opportunity to put an addition on that building to just meet the community's needs.
Mm-hmm.
So that particular building relies on geothermal or ground source heat pump. They went, and because of the building being a 1916 building with a brick exterior, they did all the insulating of the walls, the roofs, the foundation. They did everything from the inside. Then they decided to go with photovoltaics as their on-site energy source and put that on the addition, which was put on the south side of their existing building, a flat roof so that they had great solar exposure. They also ended up using like a whole string of solar panels on the south side of the building as an awning. So it provides some shading from the summer sun.
And that is timber construction. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And let's see, what else can I tell you? And and essentially, although the pandemic, kind of affected the way buildings were being used, this particular building, especially because of the ERVs, so the energy recovery ventilators, was really able to continue working quite well, air, no problem. So if you go to that website, you'll just be amazed when you look at the dashboard, because they have the historic usage of the building for, I think, about 3 or 4 years. And then you see a drop to just, very, very low energy uses, which is actually the expanded building. So a building that was almost doubled in size uses only of the energy it did initially, and all of it is offset with on-site renewables. So that one's it's a great story. And in fact, incredible. They're so excited about it. In fact, both of our verified projects, although yes, it's challenging because it's new, really, I think mainly, to design and build these net zero buildings at this point. The one done it successfully, the two that have already been verified, they're already looking at their next net zero projects. So they're hooked, which is good.
Yeah, and that's the idea, is to get hooked on these type of projects, because once you get your feet wet, I mean, and you're talking about visiting the website, that's one thing, but why not go there and see for yourself and see what a project, a net zero project feels like, right? And how what it looks like and how it's performing. I think, that's pretty accessible. It's the Park District in Oak Park, and I've seen it myself, and it feels really, really great to be in there. And that's the whole point of designing healthy environments, right? Because people know what feels good, right? And people have a sense of what looks good. And now we have a sense of how it performs, right? And by your testimony here, it is performing really, really great.
Yeah, so like I said, as of now, we only have 2 buildings where we have the verified. Again, pandemic, some of the monitoring was put on hold because these buildings, shut down for sometimes 3, 4, 5 months. But now that everyone is kind of, not but almost back to normal, this year should be a really good year in terms of getting more data in, and that'll be really interesting. But I think the main thing is, we've been able to see that these net zero buildings, they're performing very well. They're extremely comfortable for the occupants. They usually have great daylighting. They have good air quality. The temperature are staying really stable because the envelopes are so well designed and constructed. So overall, the feedback has been very good.
All positive. Nice.
Yeah.
So do you have another project that you'd like to discuss?
I know when you and I had talked before, did you to talk a little bit about our net zero wastewater treatment program?
Yeah, I think so. I think we would love to hear that.
Okay, so and I'll discuss a project in that context too. So along the lines of the net zero energy building programs, you know, the foundation felt that there were some real opportunities in the water treatment sector for better performance in terms of energy efficiency, and again, being able to reach net zero performance or energy neutrality, as it's often called in the water treatment sector. And so in 2016, at the same time that we launched the net zero energy building program, we also launched the net zero energy wastewater treatment plant program. Our country, I think, uses somewhere between 3 and 4% of its energy just for treatment plants. And the thing is, it doesn't have to be that way, because there are huge opportunities for efficiency improvements, you know, let's say in wastewater treatment plants in particular, you know, more efficient blowers, more efficient mixers, maybe more efficient diffusers, putting in biogas, applying combined heat and power, and so on. So much energy within that treatment, wastewater treatment process itself, that wastewater treatment plants could be net zero. And we've awarded 3 grants to date. The first one to achieve net zero was the Downers Grove Sanitary District. So, and here too, if you Google Downers Grove Sanitary District and net zero, you'll get to their plant page that actually like posts their monthly energy consumption and energy. And you can see what the energy balance is. But overall, you know, it's a little bit different in the wastewater treatment sector than for the buildings. It's a longer process. So we work with these plants over years, but it's a matter of really successive steps. And Downers Grove, for example, they put in, you know, the turbo blowers, they put in fine bubble diffusers, they decided to put in anaerobic digestion, then they decided on fog, which is fats, oils, and grease from the, you know, restaurants in their community, and that really bumped up their biogas production. And then they could use the biogas in a combined heat and power application. And first they did 1 unit, and then they added a 2nd unit, and finally they were able to essentially become a net zero, net positive plant. Wow. So the roadmap looks different for every wastewater treatment plant. And again, we don't micromanage what they do. We feel like each plant knows what the best strategy is for them, but they have to have that facility, that long-term plan when they come to us, and then we work with them to implement it. And hopefully
yeah. So how does the grant work, the funding work? I would imagine it's just, you know, you talk through the steps of how they became net zero, and it's pretty exciting once you start recognizing or connecting the dots, you know, how you can, all the levels that you can do to reach net zero. But how does it, you know, the incentive is to get the grant. So how does that funding work? You know, you spoke a little bit about, you know, actual performance, right? Do you release funds right away, or how does that happen?
So there are similarities and differences for both programs. So both programs, the maximum grant amount that you can get is up to $2 million per project or per plant. For the Net Zero Energy Building Program, the payout is divided into 2 payments. You can obtain 60% of your grant amount. The building is completed, occupied, and the data monitoring system is in place. And then after 12 months of net zero energy performance, and we give you an 18-month window to kind of find those 12 months. After 12 months of net zero energy performance, then you collect the remaining 40%. With the wastewater treatment plants, it's a little bit different. Again, the total amount is the same, but because it's usually a succession of projects, they can basically come in and request success. Basically, they can request funding over successive grant cycles for different initiatives, and that adds up over time, and it cannot exceed $2 million. So 60% of it gets paid out, but then the remaining gets paid out once they have demonstrated net zero energy performance.
Well, when is the right time to contact you? What are your application cycles?
So I always say contact us as early as possible. And definitely one of the eligibility requirements is you have to come to us and seek funding before you even start construction. So you couldn't, for example, go ahead and put, I don't know, a net zero addition on your school, and then after it's all done, come and seek funding. No, so you have to come in early on. So come and pick up the phone or send us an email as soon as you're thinking about something like that, or even considering net zero. And we have 2 application deadlines per year. Usually it's towards the end of January and then in July. So we've just passed the February 1st deadline. The next one is July 24th, I believe. And for the net zero building program, the invitation to submit a pre-proposal, or the pre-proposals are by invitation only. So you can submit your RFI at any time, and then we do kind of the investigation. We try to do it fairly quickly, usually try to get back to you within probably 4 to 6 weeks, to let you know whether the foundation is interested in the project or not. And part of the thing here is we are a small foundation. We only have so much available in terms of dollars, and we want to pick our projects kind of strategically and carefully and maximize the impact that we can have in helping to transform. So it's by invitation only, and those deadlines are the February and July deadlines. And then from that point forward, the applications are reviewed. You're potentially invited to submit a full proposal. The deadline for the full proposal is kind of set in collaboration with the project team, depending on how quickly a project is moving forward. And then eventually everything goes to the board for final review, and then notification takes place. The fastest I've ever seen this happen from like pre-proposal to notification is about 4 months. But generally speaking, for the buildings, the green buildings, the net zero building grants, I'd say it's more like 6 to 8 months by the time everything is done. Yeah. So
that's not bad. I mean, sometimes permitting might take around that much time. Where are these projects located? Are they all over Illinois, or are they concentrated in one region, or is there a pattern?
yes, and I think that is just the way maybe the population is distributed in the state. So out of our 13 projects, 11 of them, I would say, are in that northeast quadrant of the state.
11 of them. Wow. Okay.
One of them is out on the western part of the state near St. Louis, and the other one down near Normal, Illinois. But that's pretty typical. Most of the demand for our grants kind of comes from that northern portion of the state. And if you want to know, I went in and I wrote down, so out of our 13 projects, we have 2 affordable housing projects, 6 school or educational facilities, 1 municipal building, and 4 kind of community center or recreation center.
Okay. Well, there you have it. I mean, we can certainly, use these types of projects in other areas. Hopefully it'll spread. And it's just, spreading the knowledge, right? And the resources that we're able to do these types of projects with your help, with your assistance, financial assistance, which goes a long way. Gabriela, thank you so much for this information. My hope is that people listening would take advantage of this, would visit your website. You'll get some calls and inquiries on how to certify their project, whether you're an architect, engineer, or owner pursuing this type of project. Here we have a fabulous resource to take advantage of. So I want to thank you again, Gabriela, for your time. Any last comments on your end?
It's challenging. There's a lot to do. It takes a lot of people, and it's really a whole big web of connections. The owners, the architects, the engineers, just like you said, but there's also the zoning and the permitting and, down the road, maybe even realtors and so on. But, I just want to say we love working with all of them. We love working with the architects and engineers, although they can't come and apply to us directly. They're really critical in helping get the word out about the program and also educating their clients. And then the owners, once they understand that net zero concept and just own it, it becomes exciting when they, want to pursue net zero energy. So, it's anytime you do something new, there are hurdles and there are challenges, but I think we've shown that from them. And that gives me great hope that I think going forward, existing buildings, even new and existing buildings, all have the opportunity to go net zero. I hope we'll.
Yeah, I mean, yes, it is challenging, but to me it's fun. A new challenge is always fun, and to raise that bar to make these healthy buildings. And I remember the first time that I started a living building project, and you guys were a part of that. It was a LEED Platinum project. And sure enough, a LEED building project, wow, what is that, right? And so now that the team got it certified, it's like you said, for the Oak Park example that you gave. Now, we want to do more. We got our feet wet. Well, we can do this. We've got this. And so that's the message also to, not be afraid of something new, right? All in favor of, designing healthy environments, designing healthy buildings. And we're going to continue the talk in 2 weeks. We have the editor-in-chief of Metropolis Magazine, Avinash Rajagopal. And we are going to talk about embodied carbon and, materials, because there's one thing to do net zero buildings, but there's another challenge, a new greater challenge that'll help us with climate change. And those are the materials. What's going inside these buildings, how are they made, and what is their impact on climate change? So I look forward to seeing you all next week. Thank you, Gabriela. I look forward to seeing you in person.
The work that you do, I'm so glad, you get the work out, the word out.
Bye. Have a healthy day, everyone.
Bye-bye.